A witness, Drushantha Ramsamy, a state advocate with the Independent Directorate Against Corruption, a unit of the National Prosecuting Authority, will continue, or rather will start her testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry after the brief adjournment that we heard of just now. Let's take you straight to the Brigitte Mabandla Justice College. This is where we find my colleague, Ayanda Nyathi. A very good morning to you yet again, Ayanda. So that brief adjournment to allow for hard copies of the statement to be printed, but an interesting development as well that we've heard from the Commission Chair, Justice Madlanga, indicating that just with his perusal of the statement, it seems that Ms. Ramsamy, or Advocate Ramsamy, significantly implicates Advocate Andrea Johnson. And this is post her own testimony. She concluded yesterday, and then now he has a statement that significantly implicates her. And now he was quite concerned that she would be prejudiced if she cannot respond to this.
Yeah, that's right, Mfundo. We haven't heard much, but we've heard enough to sit up in our chairs because, as you put it, the witness is not able to start just yet, but we do have a bit of a window into what she might ultimately say. Let's bring in Canny Maphanga, our senior reporter here at the Brigitte Mabandla Justice College, to help us wade through this. And Canny, the evidence in chief hasn't been led yet, but we do know that if Andrea Johnson thought her troubles are over, perhaps not.
Indeed, it seems that she's going to have more to answer to as the state advocate for IDAC, Ms. Ramsamy, is set to implicate Advocate Johnson in more serious allegations. That's how it was framed from the Madlanga Commission's bench. It means that there's more to hear about her tenure as the head of IDAC, as she's since resigned. This is not just going to be limited clearly to the 6th of January events, which was the commissioning of the supplementary statements from Fario Adams. It looks like Ms. Ramsamy is going to go beyond that and now implicates Advocate Andrea Johnson in several other allegations that she'll have to answer to. And it's abundantly clear that there's going to be a Rule 3 notice issued to her either today or tomorrow, because there was a concern expressed by the Commission's bench that Advocate Andrea Johnson was here and these allegations, which they consider to be quite serious, were not put to her. But it took place at a time where Ms. Ramsamy was consulting with the NPA lawyers, and after the testimony of Johnson, that's when this became known to the evidence leaders of the Madlanga Commission. And of course, they'll have to issue that fresh Rule 3 notice, which means that she hasn't really closed this chapter yet before the Madlanga Commission. She'll have to return, because if there's a fresh Rule 3 notice for her to answer to, it's possible that when she answers to those questions, that they may subpoena her to appear again and give that oral testimony before the probe.
Yeah, let me come in there, Canny, because I'm afraid sometimes we might lose people with all the jargon. There's Rule 3 notice that's been said, and issues around how this witness first had a protection disclosure before deciding to come before this commission. So let's start with this Rule 3 notice. What is it, and what does it compel the person being served with it to do?
The Rule 3 notice is basically I could phrase it as a right of reply. Right. It's the commission letting you know that this is what was said about you. These are the questions that are being put to you, and you have a right to respond. It is based on that response that you give in a statement, which is why sometimes you'll see witnesses who limit their statements just to the themes in the Rule 3 notice. They don't go beyond that. And it's based off of that statement whether the commission decides whether they're going to call you or not to actually give oral testimony, if that is something that needs to be tested further. With a witness such as Advocate Andrea Johnson, I don't see a situation where she would only be able to respond to the Rule 3 notice and not come back to be tested on it orally. That's a witness which would probably have to return, because she was serving as the top of the structure of IDAC. And it seems that whatever that is going to be said by Ms. Ramsamy is so serious that the Commission wanted to clarify what indeed was the process leading up to this very serious statement that she only signed this morning before the Madlanga Commission. So we're expecting it to be quite a day today, and the IDAC stream is far from over, clearly. We're now going into the 6th of January events, which will implicate Mr. Paramore quite seriously, but also Advocate Andrea Johnson is not yet done in terms of things that allegedly took place under her watch. And I wonder if this evidence is going to be a huge contradiction to that posture she tried to take, which seemingly paints her as someone who
was quite removed, exactly, yeah.
Far removed from the conduct of the IDAC investigators or the advocates. It seems that she tried to create an impression that they just act out of their own will, and I think that's possibly something that could be dismantled today with this latest evidence by Ms. Ramsamy.
What I find really interesting is that we've been told through Advocate Lisigos Ngube that, in fact, this particular witness was listening to Andrea Johnson and then approached the commission with her own information.
Advocate Andrea Johnson, this is the theme that I was talking about earlier, that pattern where she seems to take a posture that, oh, this is the responsibility of this one or this one. And Ms. Ramsamy was mentioned quite a few times during the evidence of Advocate Andrea Johnson. And clearly this is something that the witness may have heard, and I think she wanted to place it in the form of a protected disclosure. I'm not sure if I heard...
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. So that means that it was so serious that she wanted to do it basically in a protected disclosure. It's something that's anonymous. You don't put your name out there. And it's going to be something that's going to be quite serious for Advocate Andrea Johnson as well as IDAC in terms of its future and its current standing, its structure, and whether or not it serves its mandate. But you can see from the kind of evidence that is being led now that we're far from done in terms of the IDAC stream, which seems to be a unit that serves as the missing link, as I like to put it, for this overall question about the alleged infiltration in the criminal justice system and how the counters or the alleged fightbacks manifest in the criminal justice system. It seems the answers lie in IDAC because allegedly this is a unit that is alleged to be part of that fightback in terms of the criminal justice system and how this alleged infiltration was responded to, because all you see so far is the alleged targeting of certain individuals and a world of allegations of alleged unlawful conduct following IDAC. And it seems that that list is going to grow when Ms. Ramsamy takes to the stand.
Canny Maphanga, thanks very much indeed. As I've said before, and I'll repeat it again, there's hardly a dull day here at the Madlanga Commission. And from where we're sitting, it appears that the gloves are coming off even inside IDAC itself as this inquiry tries to get to the bottom of whether or not the claims that were made that this institution is being used to wage factional battles within the SAPS are true. I wish I could tell you when we're likely to resume. It doesn't look like it'll be a long time, though, especially when you consider that these are just administrative issues that the commissioners, the evidence leaders, a bigger part, and are hoping to wade through. But as soon as we start, we'll make sure, of course, you don't miss a beat right here at the Brigitte Mabandla Justice College.